Hello YouTube, Gandalf here. All right, so we're on Gandalf the Great today. Um, in an earlier video today, I said, I'll be working towards my new goals. Guild Boss 6 is one of them, and I really appreciate a particular viewer commenting that, if I switched out Whistler, I could potentially be getting to that 400 mil. I guess the Guild Boss video is coming out a little bit earlier than I anticipated. I didn't expect I will get there that quickly. So yeah, this is the team. It's not 100% 400 mil yet. Most of the time it is hitting over the 400 mark, which I'm very happy about. I think this is the first time I'm gonna be getting that just barely there, be getting the one key for Guild Boss 3. You can see that there are times where it seems like I'm probably dying. Andreas is dying early, and the number of turns kind of indicate I probably died there. Um, I think a couple of, and when I'm super lucky, I can actually one key the boss in 19 turns. So what kind of made the difference? Well, Whistler did make a difference, but there's a lot of nuance. So let's dive right into it in this video and look at, what are the changes I made. So first of all, for those of you, still deciding, what comes at E2 for Santa. One thing people always remember about is, oh, now at E2 Santa can permafreeze. But the other part is Santa actually can now do a AoE heal from this freeze, which is super important because before I couldn't use Skill Master with the E1 Santa team because I just wasn't getting enough heals. I had to actually put on a healing aura, recovery aura, and just take advantage of, Ben taking every turn. Now I can finally put on the Skill Master aura. That was a significant portion, adding a 12%. Otherwise, I would be still at around the 370 mark. So getting a Skill Master aura is an absolute must. Okay. The other part is my Combat Vanguard aura used to be just 1 star. Uh, with the extra legendary chest you saw there, legendary aura chest, I was able to take a few of them and got this to a 3 star Combat Vanguard aura. So these two alone, the aura side, was able to bump my roughly, 300-ish to like the mid and high 300s. So, sometimes you wonder, hey, I have the same heroes as you, why am I not doing the same damage? Combat Vanguard is a massive multiplier. It's a direct multiplier. There is no diminishing return because there are very few bonus damage. So if you haven't checked out my game mechanic video, right? Game mechanic video, go to my channel, take a look at that. It explains how the damage formulas work. This is a purely multiplicative component to the damage output. It boosts your dot damage, it boosts your direct damage. This is a huge component. But then this is additive to Nereid's bonus. So there's a tiny little bit in mission return, but for the most case there isn't any because this is a very unique debuff. So this is huge. For people wondering, why isn't my guild boss damage the same? Why I have similar stats? Skill Master, the other one. So these two combined together is multiplicative. It's going to be able to increase the damage your hero do for the next turn. So Ben spamming his ultimate allows you to have Skill Master up pretty much all the time, which is very important. Um, so the person had tell me add Whistler. So you don't have to go crazy fast on Whistler. You should probably have way better attack than like you can. My Whistler was sitting at maybe 42,000, 43,000 with maybe 23, 2400 speed. That would have been a way better stat distribution. However, I recently, retired my Guhana, so I needed my Whistler had like some ridiculous speed to follow my space. So, if you haven't watched that video, go take a look at speed tuning, why my Whistler is ridiculously fast. It's very worth it to put Ben Austin faster though. Like I see a lot of people with a very fast Ben. My Ben Austin again is a little bit on the slow side because I use him in PvP a lot. His effective hit is, well over 100, and I usually run with effect the Hitmaster aura, slightly faster, slower than my Catherine. I know we're getting off topic a little here, but hear me out why I have really weird stats. And sometimes, if you can actually afford to set up gear or, to be able to, purely use your Ben Austin mostly for King's Majesty, then definitely, put better speed on him. Like I see people running 2900 plus Bens nowadays sometimes. So that's gonna, increase your overall team damage output quite a bit. So, put a lot more speed on your bend. Don't worry about effective hit. This is just my PvP build that it's used in both places. Same with Whistler. So these two are not optimized for Guild Boss. Don't use these stats as your reference point. You should aim for higher attack, lower speed for Whistler, and you should aim for higher speed, lower effective hit for your bend. Then comes down to Jack. So this event, and we are able to get some extra Jack copies and Nicholas copy. The key thing at E2 is he's able to now transfer 40% of his mastery over to Andreas, which further boosts Andreas's damage by another 20-25%. So before I was running E1 Jack, I was hitting around 280. After just immediately going for Jack E2, the damage went up to around 320-ish. So Andreas, it all came from Andreas's damage, like going from like the 150 to the 200 mil plus mark. So that's the plus part of E2. So that was the key. But the other part is what you want to know is Little Jack, you do want some effective hit on him. You don't need to put a whole bunch. Having a little bit does help with a detonation. What you do want though is majority of the time Andreas to be the one that's doing the detonation. I haven't tested thoroughly, but I feel almost like if Jack has too high of effective, it actually steals from the damage because he's the one that's going to be detonating sometimes instead of letting Andreas do most of the detonation. So I would actually recommend, don't worry about effective hit on Jack. I know some people argue over, yeah, there's the opportunity for one dot. Majority of his damage, if you actually look at the skills, right, is going to be doing attack detonation damage, right? It's going to be additional burn damage, right? Burn 500, and it's bomb. And then here is again deta burn damage multiple times. So these are damage directly. The only opportunity he's actually able to apply a debuff is on his auto, and it only has a 60% um, chance of inflicting that burn. Majority of the damage is directly detonation damage. So that's why I say, let Andreas do his own dots and detonate his own dots by using Ben Austin and Whistler over and over again. What I did find is when my Andreas is slightly slower than Jack, it's a little bit better in terms of the overall damage. It's not much. You guys can test it out. Let me know in the comments below if that's true or not. Um, or it actually doesn't matter at a point once Jack isn't really being the one that's putting any dots and Andreas is putting the dots and Andreas is detonating the dots himself the second follow-up turn. So you guys tell me. I can probably optimize my gear a little bit better. I was just messing around and Jack ended up being a lot faster than I wanted. So he has a lot more speed than where I started out with. He was like in the low 1800s, and by the time I was done tweaking, it was like he got a lot more speed, which kind of is helpful because I do put Master Surge on him. So further again, by him going before Andreas gives Andreas that um, surge additional mastery on his turn, right? So all of these things kind of help in some way. I'm really using Little Jack as a stack stick, less so to do damage. And finally, my Andres isn't exactly, the most impressive one. I'm pretty sure your Andres is better than mine. And again, that's why we're doing this more on Gandalf the Grey account. I feel like that's more representative of a late game player who's kind of, or a kraken or sorry, a whale that's been spending into your maybe 7-8 months into the game. I feel like these stats are relatively attainable. My aura level is like a level 2 aura. Like these are not crazy stats, so I feel like I could relate to you guys a little bit more in this video. There's no E3 Nicholas. Many of you can probably obtain a Ben Austin. Whistler, I think you could have done this with Whistler E1 because that's the main one you need to get the attack. The E2 is not required because E2 is just additional crit damage. It does, but if you do have E2, I mean, maybe I mean, he does have some basic attack to him, so maybe the odd crit damage is helping a little bit. Can't check. But what I did do though is, let's take a look at their stamps. I don't think I can see it from here. So some of you might wonder, do you have really good stamps on these guys? Not really. So Ben Austin is using the effective res, so this allows me to get additional 8% attack. So stamps do help. So if you're struggling, do leverage some of these stamps. You only can use one of them, I believe. It doesn't really stack with the rest of your team. Santa is not benefiting. I'm using Santa because I needed a little bit more effective from the waves, and helps prevent him from getting frozen on my permafreeze team. So that's that. So it doesn't boost my damage. Since I'm using Andreas with Whistler, I thought I could use my this one that's really for aerial. So many times, due to Whistler's turn, Andreas is actually going to be under stealth. So because he's under stealth, I'm going to be able to increase direct damage, and well, I'm going to be able to do just a little bit of extra damage that way. I wish I had a better one that I could use. Uh, I mean, I don't have I think you need the golden Lego aura, the one that's going to give him way more burn damage, but obviously I don't have that. Finally for Jack, if you look at the Echo, I'm using this one really just mainly for the mastery stat. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of crit damage. I mean, but the direct damage is not where any of this is coming from. So yeah, so this is I think that's probably a lot of in-depth explaining, how to make your detonation team hit 400. I know a lot of you want to know, if you haven't built a near it, what can near it do? So I've been testing and messing around a little bit with near it. If you saw Karzak's video, obviously, his Santa and his auras are way higher. And this is kind of, what I'm able to do, um, with similar type of teams. He's getting close to 400 mil. I'm getting close, right? I'm not, and I think I died here. So maybe if I didn't die, um, it would have been better. So clearly you can see Jack has a little bit more damage mitigation than Nerid. Maybe if you have Santa E3 here, you could have made it. Like I'm dying on turn 18, right? Like I'm imagining if I can get two more turns through this somehow, I would be able to hit that 400 mil, but I think I'm just simply dying like it's 17 turns, right? So survivability is a little bit of issue without the Jack. So if you're okay, so see this time I survived and I got over the 400 mil. So I think it's just a matter of stats. I mean, near it obviously doesn't have any. My Lucia isn't the best, in case anyone's wondering. What kind of Lucia do you need to have? Not a great one. Um, I mean, nowhere near 100% crit rate on that. The mastery is so effective, it is really low. Um, I got a bit of work to do on that. People wonder, would this help? She does do a bit of damage, bring a little bit debuff, but again, Whistler is the one that's actually going to be boosting the damage a lot. So you do survive now, but the Whistler is really great. Your Lucia ultimately has to survive. I mean, just to put things in comparison stats wise, right? Whoops, I should probably ban some skills, but I don't think it matters too much because I do want Santa to cast his ultimate now, and Ben will always not use his skill too as long. I think, in his video he featured a Mackin, so my Mackin versus his, nowhere I'm not gonna get to that 400 mark. But I think, if you're early on, right? Even something like, a E1 Jack with this, I'm sure you are capable of now surviving, right? And you're gonna be, almost there, right? Just want to make sure for my Ben Austin here. He is on the right aura. Yeah, he's not on the right aura. And I want to make sure. So, oh yeah, I forgot to show the Santa Aura the other time earlier. So Combat Vanguard, I think it's just, yeah, it's just 2 stars, right? It's so I only upgraded 2 times, so it could go up a lot more. Um, so if you look at this, I think with a little bit of luck, are we gonna get to the 400 mark? I mean, the survivability definitely is there, right? With Jack, but without it, I don't think we can pull it off. Let's take out Mackin and see, Lucia. Is that possible? It's getting close, right? So if you don't have Andreas and these heroes are a lot more obtainable, and I'm not using like the E3 Santa or anything like that, you can see you're getting pretty close. Um, really close, but I think so you can see Nurit's damage amplification, as we discussed in prior videos, it's definitely there. I mean, what else can we try? I mean, I tried, without without Jack, right? I was working on, can I show you guys a team without limited and how far we can get? So sorry, let's take that out. And I think, well, there you got 4 myth 6 in this team here. It's pretty hard, um, because Santa is invaluable in terms of that speed up. Um, it's really hard to do without that. I mean, I would say let's give Mamook a try. Mamook does give that speed up, which I find more useful than Catherine at times now. Um, and gives the attack down, right? That helps you with your survivability too. Um, okay, so it's comparable to a Catherine. Um, but again, the main thing we're actually missing a lot from the damage was actually the Combat Vanguard aura. So if we factor in that like 20 odd additional damage, this will be very comparable to, what Santa was bringing in. So if you put Combat Vanguard on your Mamook, that would have been comparable. Let's put in something like with that attack buff here. I hope I can survive. I mean, we do have this mixed with speed up, and let's put Nita in here. Trying to see if we can squeeze it anywhere close to 400. No, just not gonna do it. I don't think even, yeah, it's not even surviving at this point. So you do need high survivability to make this work. Um, yeah, so it seems like, even, Nurid and Jack. Let's put in Guhana again. I mean, Guhana is going to give you that little bit of attack up. And the heals. I don't know if that's going to be enough though, but let's give it a try. My Guhana is not built to heal. We did get to the 2200 turns, so we're close. I mean, remember, Nereid and Jack, both of them have damage reduction capabilities. Okay, so we're getting really close to the 400. I feel like maybe if I had Combat Vanguard in here somehow, like maybe put Combat Vanguard on Guhana. Oh, there we go. There you go. There you go. Over 400 on a relatively low budget team. I feel like, Little Jack, it's still very critical because I mean he's also, remember, he's boosting Lucia and near its damage here, right? So I think we'll end the video here in terms of how we can get to 400 mil. I think getting, I mean, I really didn't mess around with my Guild Boss 6 team much. Now that I really, thinking back, really appreciate that viewer's comment says, hey, putting Whistler, and you might be able to do it. I didn't mess around. I mean, the test feature is great. So from time to time, your account has progressed quite a bit. I mean, I think earlier today I put out a video around, um, you know, it's been 50 days roughly since, I was doing content creation. And if you look at the first video I ever did on my channel, um, I was, I just broke the 200 mil mark. So a lot of these new hero rolled out. This anniversary event was huge. So, I was able to pick up three limited hero box, which is massive, massive, massive for my account. So yeah, very happy. Uh, Again, thank you to um, as you all know, I butcher people's names, so I'm not going to say it, but you know who you are. Thank you so much for encouraging me to go for Guild Boss 6. And hopefully this video has helped many of you in terms of, messing around with different teams. Highly recommend you use the test features. You're not going to be using infinite keys. Um, you know, I know this very much focused on Guild Boss level 6. I know a lot of you are early on earlier stages, but you know, hopefully I think we can try something a lot more lighter. I mean, from the teams you saw, yes, you probably don't have these heroes, but I think maybe many of you are still on Guild Boss 5. The team I did Guild Boss 5 back then, very much just relied on the existence of Ben Austin and Catherine. I had no Santa. You really just need, 2 DPS to do Guild Boss 5. Putting Whistler, any of these would have been, very easy. Here is something that I used before. Just put in three different daughters. You will get to the damage mark. Obviously, my damage is a lot higher now. I will even say, Nurid is probably something people get a lot now. Even putting Nurid and Nita together, I think you should be able to get to the 200 mil mark. Yeah, 200 mil mark, right? So this is just, four heroes for those of you. I know, yes, I'm much, we shouldn't be looking at Guild Boss 5. Um, for some of the newer players, but I did kind of want to just show that is, build. These are heroes you're going to build. So maybe you don't need Catherine, E5, but Nerid plus, Anita, some way to put like 15 debuff on the boss, you're easily going to be able to hit that 200 mil mark. Once you get into Guild Boss 6, survivability becomes a challenge. So that's where Jack is still, very important. I know in the past, I debated a lot, do you still need Jack once you have Nerid? You don't need you don't need Jack. I mean, to do it. Um, it I mean, you definitely don't need Santa to do it. I mean, we just saw it with Guhana. You just need someone with, speed up and some sort of healing capability. And Guhana does come in with damage reduction. But, Guild Boss 6, yeah, I think step one, trying to figure out a team where you can survive through. Even 200, right? Even if we look at, getting to 200, you're getting most of the gem here. You're getting most of the chances on the summons, which is important. The big one you're going to when you hit the one key or going for the 400 is, you are getting a bigger chance on that eye. But really, a 5% is like you're expecting maybe one eye every 20 days. That's not even that's like just a little bit of a legendary eye in a year. So, and you get way more eyes more frequently nowadays. So this is not, your significant source of eyes. It will help you with getting some summons. I mean, this is where you save up gems, right? So, if you're early game player, all the people that are at least that I've spoken to or reached out asked for, what should I focus on early game? Get your guild boss level damage up, right? Even here, one key that is 100 gems every day. Your second key, if you get, in here in this range, that's another 120. So if you can hit 100 mil, that's 220 every single day. That's going to help you tremendously because in a week, that's going to help you rack up enough to, spend a little bit every week on your voyage events, right? So do that. Your arena can probably, if you arena, you try to get maybe like 500-600 gems from there every week. And that will really help you a lot, right? Make sure you do all your dispatch. Your dispatch, there's tons of gems in here. And, watch your ads. Sorry, I guess I see some of it already, but you guys know the ads they added in. Now you get some additional gems. Just all add up, right? If you go back to that video back then, I mean, both accounts, you recall, I think over a span of 50 days, I saved close to sorry, 15 to 20,000 gems at a minimum. At a minimum. Go check those two videos out back then, compare. This one was so, a lot of it, it's just being disciplined. And I do spend like almost the full 64,000 on every event as well. So that's a lot of gems you can really rack up in this game. Um, don't give up on all the gems add up. So yeah, hopefully this video was helpful for those of you still working on your guild boss and don't have a team. Hopefully this encouraged you to go around messing with your gear, fixing up your teams a little bit, and maybe just push to that next big milestone. Wish you a great rest of your day wherever you're at. Scandalf out.